If you are leading change, building a team, or implementing new procedures, Gonzaga University's online Masters in Organizational Leadership gives you the tools for success. With concentrations in change, global, and servant leadership, you'll get the most relevant training and education to help you tackle any challenge. Visit gonzaga.edu/leader and find out how Gonzaga's organizational leadership degree can affect positive change in your life and career. That's gonzaga.edu/leader.
Welcome to the Hypothalamic Amenorrhea podcast. I'm Danny Sheriff, your host, certified fertility awareness practitioner, functional nutrition counselor, and founder of the HA Society, and of course, an HA recovery coach who has walked where you currently are walking. This is the place to come if you care about getting your period regularly. This podcast aims to educate, inform, and keep you motivated on your period and HA recovery track. So let's dive in. But last thing, nothing on the show should be taken as medical advice, so please seek the advice of your physician. So over a year ago, I created something called the 7-Day HA Recovery Commitment Challenge, and I've been running it for over a year. It was this free email-based challenge, so lots of reading, but you would get an email every day for 7 days to help you overcome and tackle the different but important areas that you need to be checking off in order to get your period back. Now, over time, I have collected some really great feedback, and upon working with all of these wonderful, amazing women, really started to learn even more about what works and what doesn't. And so I'm excited to be introducing to you guys the updated version. It's called the 7-Day HA Recovery Kickoff, and it is totally designed to help you not just commit to the process and have all of your ducks in a row in terms of important factors that need to be tackled and issues that need to be overcome in order to get your period, but the whole thing is now based in video. So you can listen/watch, and every day for 7 days, we will tackle nutrition. There's actually 2 days of that because it's so big. We'll tackle lifestyle, we'll tackle exercise, your support network, your mindset game. Each video goes from anywhere between 12 minutes and 5 minutes, so it's not very long, but you'll get all of the most important areas and the best tips and strategies for how to implement them. Because I know that going through recovery is hard. There's always an area for each person that is a little bit difficult to execute on. And so the goal, or maybe a lot difficult. So the goal of this challenge is to help you have the awareness, the self-awareness, and the tools and strategies you need to overcome each of the different issues that AHA recovery faces for us. So get on it. It's great if you're at the very beginning of recovery, or if you're halfway through. I mean, we never know how far through we are until it's over, do we? But no matter where you're at, it can be a really good opportunity to check in and look for blind spots and areas where you might be dropping the ball in your nutrition, in your lifestyle, maybe it's your support network that's a problem. Maybe exercise is something that you are still struggling with making changes to. So check it out. Go to thehasociety.com/7-day-challenge, or the link will be on the website. So it may be in the show notes of this show. It may not be. Just go to thehasociety.com and you'll find it in the footer, or you'll find it in the pop-up that happens when you visit the page. And we will see you for day 1 of the challenge.
Accept that for us. Okay, got it. All right, there we go, guys. Congrats. How's your...
It took us 10 minutes. What? What are we, 10 minutes in? Start the clock now.
All good. Technical stuff, it's hard. Sound goes out, sound comes in. How's your trip going? Is this so fun for you?
It's so much fun. It was like, she walked in the door and I was like, it was just so weird to like look at her.
It's weird, huh?
You probably felt the same thing.
It's so weird to meet internet people in person.
It's so weird, but it's like not weird at the same time because it's like we're friends.
Yeah, like, I already know you. It's just like, you're a physical being.
You are a physical being. I can touch you.
That's what Steve said. He was like, as we were driving, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to meet Abby in like a few hours. And he's like, is it so weird that you know so much about her life, but you've never met her before? And I was like, I mean, when you put it that way.
It sounds weird when you put it that way, though.
It is weird. Like there are people that you know in real life much less well. I remember Erica posted a meme ages ago that was just like, nobody will support you more than an internet friend.
It's kind of true though.
So accurate.
It's so kind of true though.
Yeah, I love it.
Like I have a few dietitians on Instagram that I like have connected with that I feel like are my friends.
Yeah, they are. Your like most of my friends are people I've met on the internet for sure.
Yeah, it's well, and also because of what we do, like a lot of our work and everything is what we do is on the internet.
Yeah. So good.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, we had a chill night last night. I dragged her to the gym with me this morning.
CrossFit.
Oh my God, did you throw up or what?
Almost.
Nice.
I felt my nervous system is not.
Yeah, her nervous system isn't primed for. I mean, it was like a partner workout. It was like very much work rest.
Yeah,
it was good. It was like, yeah, it was fun.
We did 6 rounds. First 2 rounds, I was like, oh yeah, this is
Feeling
great.
good. Second 2 rounds, Elyse is like, I'm gonna back chill for a minute. I'm like, girl, you chill. You're good.
No, the last round.
Last round, you crushed it.
Very wise to like rest, but no,
yeah, it was
okay,
very work rest. Well, I only go on Saturdays because it's work rest because you're always with a partner.
Yeah, that's just fun.
It's way more fun because like you don't have to go hard. No. I mean, like it's hard. Like it's hard work, but like there's such a difference when you like are working with a partner and you have built-in rest to your workout. Like it's a game changer.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it should be. Like most of the time. Okay.
All the time.
Well, cool guys.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, everybody, welcome back to the HA podcast. We have here Abigail Grimm, formerly known as Abby Fitchell, registered dietitian, amongst other things, I assume. And we're excited to have her here because she, has had her own experience with HA. She's been on the show before and is a big advocate for women not wrecking themselves and taking care of themselves and their hormone health. So excited to have her on the show here, joined alongside with Elyse Lawry. Welcome back. This will be your like 5th by the time this comes out.
Thanks for having me.
Should we just call you a co-host?
Everyone's a co-host. Y'all are my co-hosts today. These aren't guests.
Honestly,
these are my co-hosts
I love
today.
that.
Yeah. Yes. And Elyse registered. She's not. Oh my God, personal trainer and currently studying to be exercise
nailed it.
There we go.
Teamwork.
Words are hard.
We are a team with all of our specialties.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we bring to you guys today the period panel, and we're just gonna dive right in. I have no idea what we're going to talk about today. I made an active decision to not plan anything because I just had a feeling that we'd be able to riff pretty well. And then I'm keen on what people think. If they enjoyed this type of conversation, you're going to have to come and let me or them know so we know to do more of it. And if you were just like, this sucks, I do not care about what any of these people have to say, then you can let me know that too. And I'll make sure
not
they
offended.
get invited again.
I'm too sensitive. Don't tell me that.
All right, just come tell me. Tell me and Abby.
You're not you're not on the back of the show.
So I would love a little catch up. I'm gonna start with you, Abby, on like last time you were on the show, you had just recovered, you were in preparation for your wedding. When recap on where we left off and what's happening with you now.
God, I don't even know where we left off. I guess I can just give a little update. I honestly don't. I think it was like back when I was like recovered, maybe had my second recovery period.
Yeah, probably
So,
second or third, and you were
second or
still
third.
engaged.
Yes, second or third recovery period, which was probably around November, December of 2020. So, yeah, going into the beginning of the year, I guess like in the beginning of 2021, there was just still a lot of waiting that I was doing as far as wanting to get back into training, because obviously, you know, the magical number for us is 3, but being the constant type of overachiever that I am, I wanted to wait until longer. So I probably didn't start working out again until like another month after that. So I would say probably like end of January, beginning of February, I started to get back into exercise. And I personally didn't have like an exact blueprint for what this was going to look like. And looking back, I don't know if that was a good or bad thing, honestly. I kind of just wanted to go off of feel, like see how my body felt. And just to kind of like make a long story short, I feel like it was from the beginning of the time I started working out again, like things went really well as far as keeping my period. Like ovulation was always happening on a monthly basis, but as far as the months went, like there was still like a little bit of variability in like the exact day that I would ovulate, or exactly how many days my luteal phase would be. And it was all within like normal limits though. So I was just happy that like I was able to start working out again, because for my mental and emotional health, it was like such a huge thing for me, because my wedding was this past October, and like just being real, like I just wanted to feel like comfortable for my wedding. I hadn't gotten a wedding dress yet, so I really did not go like I was not making any intentions to lose weight. I just needed to move my body. And the whole other side of my personal story that we won't even probably have time to get into on the podcast is like my experience with mold exposure, and how I believe that this had a huge role in like my recovery, and has kind of to this day actually been something that I'm obviously still working through, and has still had an influence on the consistency of my cycles. And because of what I was dealing with from like a detoxification standpoint, like I wasn't training for months in the middle of the winter. So like I had a lot of kind of like negative implications of not being able to train and work out and like detoxify and sweat, that like I was doing a great thing by recovering my period, but like in another way I was like not healing. I wasn't doing things that supported healing in that way. So that was kind of tough, just because I had a lot of inflammation, like a lot of like negative gut sign, like negative signs as far as like my gut health and like my digestion and all this type of stuff. And so just being able to like move my body again and sweat and still be able to stay within still be able to see consistency with my cycle, which is like such a cool thing, because I hadn't had that for 5 years. And so just kind of all throughout the spring and into the summer, I just was kind of slowly ramping up my workouts. I was doing a lot of like just accessory type lifting, you know, like getting back to doing back squats, getting back to lifting, doing deadlifts, and really just lifting the bar and doing dumbbells with pretty lightweight. And then I come from the background of doing CrossFit and competing in CrossFit. So I definitely wanted to bring that back into my workouts, just because it's fun for me. And a lot of my friends still do CrossFit. So I have enjoyed working in like 1 to 2 days of CrossFit a week early on. Right now I'm back to like 1 day a week, but it's just totally done in like a different way. It's there for fun. It's there for moving. It's there for, getting my heart rate up a little bit, but then it's like, I kind of go through more of a stressful, intense workout like that, like much more seldomly. And my body is definitely thanking me for it. So I guess that's kind of like where I'm at. I mean, leading up to the wedding, I had definitely some like weird things going on with my cycle, but I had a lot of stress for my wedding, so I wasn't really too concerned about it. I took some time away from tracking my cycles just because I felt like it was kind of making me more stressed at times. And then like after my wedding, we went on our honeymoon and I was like the most relaxed I've ever been for an entire month. And like my cycle was perfect. Like ovulation was on the day and I had a 2-week luteal phase. Like it was great. And then kind of getting back into life and, you know, the regular stressors of life and work and training. Getting a dog has had a huge impact, and also kind of dealing with the onset of more symptoms related to the mold exposure. I've definitely had to like be aware of the regularity of my cycle and just give myself grace for things not being perfect up to this point. So I'm here in a place today where things still are not perfect. Like I'm still working through what my normal is, and that's good, but I've still like, for the most part, had consistent cycles. It's just the timing of like my ovulation and my luteal phases have been a little bit like inconsistent, I would say. I hope that was a good summary. I feel like it was a little all over the place.
It was great. We will, I think we should at some point do a mold exposure thing. I feel like
I would really love to, because we don't talk about it. And I've kind of felt, you know, at times it's been hard because you can't relate to people in the same way.
Yeah. And there's going to be a surprising amount of people listening who are like, this is a part of, this is, I definitely have mold exposure.
Yes, definitely.
We chatted on the phone a couple weeks ago. And you were kind of talking about like, it's been over a year, right, that you have been cycling consistently, right? So you're just like well and truly out of the like I have HA
recovery, like think of yes.
But right, a part of that conversation was like, and I feel like I'm definitely doing everything I should be doing, and why is my shit not perfect yet? And yes, there's an element of like maybe it's mold exposure. But what I really liked talking about this with you that day, which was at some point, I think that we all have to acknowledge that chasing the perfect period is just like not gonna happen.
No, it's not.
And we get caught up in it. And we're like, what's wrong? Like, it's still not optimal.
Right. And you know what? There's gonna be those people that have like, they are like clockwork, like 28-day cycles, ovulate on day 14. But the reality is, think about how precise we are with tracking our body. Like no one, because we've had to, and we've had to learn about our cycle to a T, like we're so in tune with it, where most women aren't actually getting, like even women that aren't dealing with hypothalamic amenorrhea, like they're probably not getting perfect cycles every single month. It's just they're not aware of it. So we're so aware of it, and we're so dialed into our body, which isn't a bad thing. Like we should be tracking these things. We should be aware if there is something off, because it's information for us. It's information that we need to kind of dig deeper into what could be the reason for that. But like, I just love what you say, like how you mentioned that of, we are just on a different level of attunement and awareness with our body, that it's like
it's a blessing and a curse though.
Oh my God.
Because yes, it is information, but you have to keep it as information and not attach yourself to it, which that was something I think we all struggle with when we go through recovery.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, it is really just like helping us make the next best decision. And it's not, it just doesn't mean anything. And there is that popular saying of like, your period's like a report card, which I think is super cool. And it's important. Like the one caveat I have to it is like a report card is like, you know, you did good or you did bad. And that's one thing that I would change about that. It's like, it's a status dashboard of like how things are going. You can sliding scale it. And the thing that I loved about our conversation that day, and this just feels really relevant to you too, Elyse, they seem like just very similar, right? Like I'm always trying to optimize it, and sometimes when it's not, you know, I forget that it's just information. And sometimes I feel bad about it. This is a very common thing. And this is something so many people are afraid of. And I get people all the time, I don't want to start charting because I think it'll stress me out, or I want to stop because it'll stress me out. And so we need to keep talking about this. But you're never going to see it be quote unquote perfect, or maybe like you will, but it's going to be like the unicorn, right? You're like, oh my God, how fun. I had a cycle that hit all the parameters. Yay. Like that is fun. But it's going to happen because you're on vacation or something, like the stars aligned. And that's like what we were saying was, we don't live in a world, culture, a society where like you're going to have a perfect cycle. It's just like, that's not where the example that I had said when we were talking was like, we should all be sitting around a little campfire making tortillas by hand. Just
like we should be doing that. We should be making our own tortillas from flour.
Can we do that?
From flour.
Can we like organize this?
This is like, we'll go tribal HA camp tribal edition, where we're just being tribes women.
Tribal edition?
We're tribe women. We're gonna all be in nature. We're gonna be making tortillas by hand. We're gonna be gathering berries, and we're gonna be like, there's children around or something, I don't know, right? Because
absolutely,
but that's what we were evolutionarily built and designed to do. And so we're living in this world that's got tons and tons and tons of chronic stress all around us, which brings women to the comparison trap of like, well, she's handling all this, so why can't I handle all this? And so we've developed a baseline level of stress that we think is not stress, is just like the normal day-to-day of life, which is just like, actually for those tribes women over there making their tortillas, it is a very stressful, right? Like, that's actually high stress for them. So what's high stress for us is a wild amount of stress. And like a wedding, or CrossFitting every single day, and having a job and client work. So that's like,
we definitely normalize so much of it, and
it's going to impact your cycle every month.
Yeah, and it comes down to how well are you able to manage that, and of course, what is your perception? Like, we can do all the things in the world, but it comes down to how you perceive it. So like, how you are feeling and anticipating whatever your tasks are and how you handle it is a lot of times what the impact that it's actually going to have on you. And the reality is that most of us know we need to manage our stress, but we just don't really do it. It's not something that we consciously are actually working on supporting our mental health and down regulating our stress response, because we just don't care. Like, we can't prioritize that when stuff has to get done immediately. Like,
we can't, like, we struggle to also just say no and not have things in our life that need to get done immediately. It's because it's how we have all agreed to live.
It's like we're all in on this together, but nobody wants to be doing it.
Yes.
Why are we here?
How do we get out?
Life. Yeah, like life. We've all agreed that like these things are important, and we're all talking about how bad it is for our mental health.
Right. We should probably have more conversations about this. Like, can we all just decide that?
Well, we're trying, right? The issue is like, the next step of the issue is, that's for you and not for me. You're like, the two of you, it's totally fine for you guys to just like say no to stuff. You should totally detox social media. Don't have it if you don't want to. If you only want to work like 3-4 days a week, like, I support you.
Right.
I can't do any of that. It's not me. My problems are different.
Well, that also comes from recovery, because the other day on a community call within the HA Society, we were talking about how like some of these girls that are still in recovery, and they're looking at other women like, oh yeah, that's so great, you can recover, you gain the weight, you look really good, but me, no, like, I'm not going to look good if I gain weight, or I'm not sick enough to recover. And so it's still the same trend. We've just,
that's very true,
taken that to a different aspect of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just shuffle it around a bit.
Yeah.
Well, Elyse, like, how about you? What are you shuffling around?
I feel like I'm just trying to navigate post-recovery and really understanding that I'm not, you know, broken anymore, that my body is functioning and that I can push my body and it will give me feedback if it's too much, if it's, you know, just enough. So I think last cycle I had a pretty good cycle, nice and like relatively short, because for me, I've kind of always had longer cycles, like closer to the 35 days. But I had a nice short one with cycle day 16 ovulation, and it's because I was road tripping and I took a whole week off exercise. So I think for me, that's taught me that obviously exercise is a stressor on my body, but the amount that I'm doing is still okay. It just makes my cycle 5 days longer, but it's still within the normal range. And I think I'm just kind of now mentally getting ready to push myself a little bit more and just trust that my body's going to do it, because very similar to Abby, you know, our recovery is pretty much lined up, and that's how we got so close, is because I had my first recovery period, then she had hers, and then we almost had our second around the same time. So like we've just been like tagging each other along the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like similar, like I've had, you know, 14 recovery periods now within, you know, 18 months of actually working on recovery. So I'm well out of the woods of HA, and I think it's probably time for me to start just pushing a bit more in a healthy way.
If that's something that you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's really important to bring up, is that like Elyse and I kind of both come from a place where like fitness and working out is like a huge part of who we are, right? It's like something that we enjoy. Now there's times of our life where it was taken to the extreme, as we know.
Yeah.
But like for me, I guess I shouldn't speak for you, but like for me personally, like I've been an athlete my whole life. And this goes back to my original HA story, where I personally did not have, like, I didn't necessarily struggle with an eating disorder, or I definitely had disordered eating patterns being a highly competitive CrossFit athlete, but I truly was always driven, and my motive was to compete, to be a competitor, and to see what my body was capable of, because I love competition, I love sport. And so for me, my end goal here is obviously I want to be really healthy, but I also want to see what my body is capable doing in a body that's functioning right. So that's why, like, I definitely think because of the way my recovery lined up, and like with, I hate to throw this in there, but like my wedding being a part of it, and like maybe doing, like pushing exercise a little bit too much early on, like I'm realizing that I've had to realize that a little bit, but also I just want to be an advocate and be leading by example of a person who, you can still be an athlete if that's something that you want to do. You can still compete in sport if that is something that you want to do, and be in a body that is functioning really well. Whereas for some people, I think a lot of the motive to like work out so much and overtrain and all this stuff, it's coming from a little bit of a different place. And not that there's a right or a wrong way, but I'm just saying, like, I know there's a lot of women out there that maybe didn't really realize what was going on. I mean, a lot of us don't really understand what was going on, I guess I should say, but just really come from a place of loving sport and loving competition, and being able to like still be someone that, you know, can define themselves as an athlete, I guess.
Yeah, it's not your weight, shape, or size that defines you as an athlete. It's your ability. Your ability
to perform, your desire to compete and to push your potential.
Yeah. Whereas my like reasons for exercising have completely changed. When I was, you know, prior to HI recovery, it was to not gain weight or to just actively, you know, shrink myself, really, just be as small as I could be. And you know, I always wanted to be strong. And I look back at my time and like I plateaued. Like I didn't get stronger. I wasn't making any progress in the
Oh,
gym.
girl,
And
same.
now with my training, like I take a whole week off over Christmas. I'm taking a week off now. Like I regularly take weeks off exercise, and that's completely fine. Like I enjoy my time. I went and did a CrossFit workout with Abby this morning. Probably won't be doing that again anytime soon. But like, you know, I enjoyed it, but it also made me realize like, wow, I used to do these kinds of workouts, like high intensity,
Every day.
like every day.
Every day.
And no wonder I was just running on adrenaline and cortisol. But now my goal for training is just to see, like, just to get stronger and actually see improvements in the gym. It has no link to what my body looks like. It's all about what my body can do while still ovulating regularly.
Profound, right? Like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. 2
Yeah.
years ago, I would have been like, you're kidding. A week off the gym?
No, for sure.
The HA Society is taking clients. Coach Ashley and I work one-on-one with HAs, as we call you, to help you figure out a plan and, of course, implement it and stay accountable. Whether you've worked with a health practitioner already and you just want to stay accountable and strategic with the plan that they've laid out for you, or you want to start from scratch looking at all the aspects of your recovery needs and to create a game plan to reach those needs, then we are definitely your girls. When you sign up to work one-on-one with one of us, we're going to go over your history, your biggest obstacles, ensure that we're taking into account your specific goals, and start making a plan to reach them. So those goals could be getting your period back, could be getting pregnant, could be getting back to exercise or sport, or simply working on your mindset around your body image and long-term recovery. We also can teach you the fertility awareness method. So if you want to learn that so that you have the skills you need to go out into the world on your own without fear of getting HA again, we have got your back. So our coaching packages are either weekly or bi-weekly and only a month at a time commitment. So you're not paying tons and tons of money for 5-6 months. It's month to month, which is awesome. Makes perfect sense for period recovery, right? So to learn about other women's experiences working with us and to apply for a coaching spot, plus ask any questions that you might have before getting started, just go to thehasociety.com/coaching.
So I mean, like the other thing that needs to be said too is that we are so, you know, we're sort of like in a camp in the HA space sometimes, right? Like you're either all in or you're all out. And and like, you know, they're the fact, like you said, CrossFit, like I'm triggered, right? And it's fine to like be in a point of your recovery where you need like a hard stop on all of those things. And for many people, that's like extremely helpful. But I also feel like we need to remember that like exercise is inherently a good thing.
Yes.
You know, like we all just did it too much.
Yeah,
like
let's not oversay it.
Yeah, like
Right.
we just did it too much. And so people get so afraid. And I also want to say like, confused about like exercise is like moral value now. And like exercising is bad and I shouldn't want to get back to it. Or it's like, it could even be like seen as a bad thing that to some people that like you went back to CrossFit, because I think CrossFit gets a lot of shit in the age
As it should. As it should.
Because it's like, it's just like,
let's just be real.
To go every day is
excessive. Well,
yeah.
Absolutely. Like, let's just take a minute, and so everyone knows here, I was CrossFitting 5 to 6 days a week. When I was recovering my period, I didn't do CrossFit for 4 to 5 months straight. I didn't do it. I did not touch a Metcon. Now I do CrossFit 1 time a week, and I'm very excited to do it because it's fun. Like there's
the
no
joy back to it, right?
There's no like expectation for me to go in and like redline.
It doesn't feel like
pour
a
my
chore.
soul out and like, you know, have my soul crushed. Like it's just, I have tons of friends at the gym. It's going there, and yes, I like to push myself, but it's just coming from such a different place. And that's with training in general. Like I get excited to go to the gym now because it's truly,
you have more respect for it.
Yeah, there's more respect for it, but
you have more respect for your body.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there have been moments of that even too, where I've kind of questioned, like, is it bad that I'm wanting to go back to CrossFit? Like, I've had to question that, even just going like 1 day a week. Sometimes I've gone 2 days a week.
Do you feel guilty if you do it 2 days a week?
There's times that I do, yeah.
Sorry, I just had to ask.
Yeah, but I'm confident though with my awareness of also analyzing where I'm also at just generally in life. Like, I'm able to self-audit myself at that point now, where I know, like, I've had a very intense week from a work standpoint, or even just life stress, and I'm able to make those decisions of like, I'm not going to put that extra,
for sure,
intense stress on my body for that hour. It's just not going to happen.
Exercise, like anything that's you're doing for your health, is like, people need to think about it as the correct dosage. Like, you wouldn't over consume on a medicine, because we all know what fucking happens, right? Like, if you take too much of a medicine, or if you take too much, like, plenty of women, you go, oh, I just don't want to take those supplements because you just pee it out and it's like becomes expensive. Like we understand over consuming supplements and medication and stuff. It's like, that's the same thing with exercise and movement, and it's like a healthy dosage. And so you found what works for you. And if you do go twice a week, if you go 3 times a week, I think a lot of people initial introduction to something like CrossFit or high intensity, or I know Elyse, like, you worked in F45, they'll go in and it's like, okay, well, what's the maximum requirement, or like, what are they saying is the hardest you should push, and that's what I should do. And if I don't do that, well, then I'm not doing it properly. So like, why show up at all? But really, it's actually about understanding like your like what you should push today. And so if you want to go
your threshold,
it changes every day, every week,
absolutely,
every month.
So I guess I shouldn't say, like, there have been times where I think I've probably done more intensity in a week than my body was kind of ready for. And that's where I feel like there's been moments of kind of like questioning and doubt in that way. But I need to give myself credit also too, with most of the time, I'm able to make those tough decisions.
Well, because you just got to think back to like, what would you have done prior to HA recovery? Even if you had that thought, you would have gone anyway, right? So
for sure.
I know for me, just before I left at the end of November to come over here, I was starting to get back into my running and stuff, and because I obviously lift weights, but I also wanted to have cardio for heart benefits and things like that.
Right.
So I wanted to get back into my running, and I was for a little while, but then it was so stressful leading up to packing and getting on a flight and leaving the country for the first time in like 2 years, that I was just like, no, I can't do it. I'm working so much. I have all of these other external stresses. I have uni assignments, exams. I was like, no, I'm just going to do my gym workouts. I'm not going to add any additional things. And that's, I didn't feel bad about not doing it. I probably would have felt a bit guilty, if I had have done it, because I knew I was already taking on too much.
Right.
So it's just finding that balance.
Right.
Yes, I love it. And when you kind of like, I do accidentally push too hard sometimes, right? There's also an element of like, we're not here to like wrap ourselves in cotton wool or put ourselves in a bubble. There's also, your body's incredible, and it should be able to withstand like unexpected stress every now and then.
Right.
And there's also value in training for that, because what if that actually happens? What if,
that's a good point.
If something happens and you need to like lean on your fitness to get out of this situation? So it's okay that one time you pushed yourself really hard, and you see the repercussions, if you will, and to come full circle, it's going to show up on your chart, and it's okay, because it just is a reflection of what happened, and it's not good or bad. I mean, in fact, it's in a healthy dosage, it is a good thing.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Actually, Danny's always right.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
No, it's just it's a really it's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, probably. But I don't have to always be right. It's fine. You guys can say.
You don't have to.
Now I'm all like,
Ew.
behind my back, do people think I'm like a freaking know-it-all or something? They better not. That would
Well,
be-
no, you just
have all the answers. Doesn't mean you know it all.
It's my
well,
worst nightmare.
well, you've worked with such a wide array of women coming with such different experiences that you've had so many conversations to be able to speak to
Every aspect.
a lot of different aspects.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Speaking of another aspect that's still on the topic of like this, step count. I'm going to talk about step count. I feel like you'd be good people to talk about this with.
Let's talk about it.
Let's
Okay.
go.
Let's go.
Currently, are either of you step counting?
Like counting our steps on our watch.
Sure.
I'm not even
Yeah.
wearing my watch.
Is that what we mean?
Yeah, like, oh my God, 10,000 steps.
Look, I went to Disney for 2 days at the start of this week, and yeah, I was curious to see how many steps we walked because we were there from open to close. But other than that, it's not like because I had to stop wearing my watch in recovery because I was getting those notifications like, stand up for 1 more minute, or you're almost at your calorie goal.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can do it. I had to mute those notifications,
Yeah.
and then I just ended up taking off my watch, for those notifications, and also because I was trying to study and it would just go off all the time. And then I just got used to not wearing it. So I wore it when I was around Disney because it helps save the battery on my phone, but I barely wear it. So sometimes I get curious, like say if I've had a busy day at work and I'm walking around the gym floor, I'd be like, wow, I wonder how many steps I've done. But then there'll be other days where I don't go for a walk and I just chill out on the couch and I'm not fazed by it.
I'm very aware of it. It has zero merit on my day or any type of feeling of accomplishment. So like there are days, a lot of times in the summer, if I'm taking Kona on a really long walk, I absolutely out of curiosity, I will look at my watch and look at my steps. And it is truly information to me. I can honestly say that. Whereas now I'm in the winter and like, we're not really, like, I really don't move that much, especially on the days that I don't go to the gym. Like I really don't move.
And I mean, I don't blame you. Winter.
And sometimes I almost like look at my watch. Cause here's the thing. I wear my watch because I always need to know what the date is because I never know. And it's on my watch. And number two, and if I'm doing workouts, I sometimes will wear it because I like to monitor my heart rate when I'm doing intensity. So like that is definitely in a reasons I'll wear my watch, but
I didn't need to wear my watch this morning. I knew I was.
Yeah, you're pretty good. You're good. But I will look at it out of pure curiosity, and sometimes I'll even laugh because like I'll be like, how much did I even move today? I'm like, I have moved like 2,000 steps in 12 hours. Like, yeah. So I don't know if we answered your original question. I am not counting or shooting for a goal by any means on a daily basis.
However, I will just add, Steve bought me my Apple Watch for my birthday, June 2020. I started recovery in July 2020. The whole reason I got that watch was because, well, A, I have Apple products, but B, I wanted to track my workouts, steps, calories. Like I debated on getting different models depending on like if I could download music so I could go for like literally walking and running and tracking it. Like the whole reason I bought that watch was to track it. Steve's a bit upset that I don't wear it anymore because he bought it for me, right? And he's like, you don't wear it. And I was like, well, I don't know. It wasn't good for me during recovery, and I've just gotten used to not wearing it.
Yeah.
Why can't we just wear our watches to look at the time? I mean, that's why I wear my watch.
I mean,
It's literally your phone.
I need to know what the time is. That's why
I literally was like, are you guys step counting? And you're just like, I wear my watch for all of these reasons. Okay.
And the last one is step counting.
Yeah. So and I wanted to just bring it up because I've been pondering on it. I've been like I sit there and I like philosophize on things.
This is why you have all the answers. I'm just saying.
So it comes up a lot with people. They're like, I can't let go of my step count. Like I can't let go of the step count, or like there's still a thing with the step count, or I'm eating more, I'm not working out, but like I still am holding on to step count. And it is really interesting that as a society, like step count is huge news right now. Like everyone's step counting.
Yeah.
Everyone, your grandma's doing it, your mom's doing it, your boyfriend's doing it, their mates are all doing it. Everyone's step counting. And I'm like, I am curious. I should look up where this like recommended number of steps actually comes from. I'm not sure, but the 10,000 steps, like I think you could argue it could be arbitrary a little bit if you like look into where it comes from. And there's been some interesting research of recent to say that like, okay, if we're all behaving in the way we're supposed to be, right, bringing it back to tortillas around the fire, we're supposed to be behaving that way apparently. So, you know, we like to compare Western culture to tribal culture, right? And we see huge differences, that people don't have the same issues with like their feet, they don't have the same dental issues, they don't have digestive issues like diverticulitis and IBS and stuff like that. We can see our Western society, our Western culture is not awesome for our health. And so I think that this 10,000 steps thing is somewhat coming from there of like, this is how much movement we need to be healthy. And I get that. But there is interesting research coming out that shows, based on like observing these cultures, and I should find it and put it in the show notes, that they actually move a very similar amount to what we do. Which, when you think about it, I think we already knew that. Like, they're not walking around the campsite like constantly. No, they're just getting up.
They're not going up and down the fields.
They're not. They're just like going to do their job, and they're preserving energy. And they're just like they're sitting in the squat position. Yes, they're like doing stuff with their hands and things, but I just think it's something to ponder on, that like for those of us struggling with the step thing, like I should be getting this amount of steps in because that's like for health. I just want to question that. And like the whole reason I brought this up was to just like plant the seed that, you know, where are you getting this idea from that you need to walk 10,000 steps a day? And it just like tracking our food and just like having to be a certain weight and yada yada, I think it's probably pretty individualized. I think it probably would change a lot, and some days you walk more and some days you walk less. And like tracking it, it's curious. Sometimes I went to Disneyland, how much walking did I do today? Sure. But like, what's it mean? You know?
Yeah. I think it's important to bring up, because I know you could probably go back through my phone and have a look at the beginning of my recovery. And I was like, gave up all high intensity, gave up weightlifting, like big exercise break, except I would still religiously walk 3 times a day and do yoga. So like the behaviors and beliefs were still there around exercise. It's just I wasn't doing those high intensity, you know, exercises that shouldn't be, you know, done in HA recovery, or can be done, but just have to be done at like a lesser intensity than I was doing them.
For me, the thing that comes into my head is, with us that have HA, a lot of times it's more than just the fact that we're working out too much and we are under eating. It comes down to the mental and emotional stress that we take on and how we are able to just deal with stress, honestly. And so it's another thing that if you're thinking about it or you have a goal in mind, like you're just going to continue to ruminate on that. And it's just another piece of ammo that is basically telling your brain that you're stressed. Like that's the biggest thing that comes up for me. It's just the rumination and overthinking and emotional burden that you take on when you are thinking about that. Not only if you like you have a goal and you're trying to hit that number and you hit it great, all that comes along with that, but that feeling of, oh my gosh, it's 8:00 at night, I've looked at my step count and I'm 3,000 under. Like, how is that supposed to make you feel?
Which everyone doing is experiencing multiple times.
Is experiencing, right?
Yeah.
So you think about
It's a
how
good
that
way to put it.
compounds.
Yeah, I didn't even like think about that one, but it's it's like you're just
Yeah.
you're adding to your to-do list, like stop.
You are.
Yeah, you're adding to your stresses, which is counterintuitive.
You're adding to the emotional burden that you take on as someone that, I don't know.
And I mean,
It's
look,
just-
I was doing like 30-minute walks at the beginning of recovery, and then I eventually got rid of that and would do 1 30-minute walk, and that was perfect. It gave me all the benefits of getting outside, clearing my head, good for my mental health. Like for me, I didn't need to do 3 lots of 30 minutes. I didn't need to hit 10. Well, probably for everyone, you don't need to hit 10,000 steps.
I don't think it's just with all things. Oh, it's not always inherently bad, right? With clients that I have that are not women that have HA and we need to increase their activity, I don't think it's bad to have, let's try and hit a goal of this many steps a day, because maybe that's their only way of actually exercising. Like we have to look at everything in the context of our situation and our personal journey. It's just like you wouldn't tell everyone to eat keto. You wouldn't tell everyone to, take a certain supplement. It's the same thing. And you kind of alluded to that, Danny, but you can extrapolate that to so many different things.
Yeah, like one thing I had to keep telling myself, especially, studying to become an exercise physiologist and learning about, the exercise guidelines and the recommendations, like that's for the general population.
Yeah.
When you're in HA recovery, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're not the general population, and what is being put out there that you need to, quote unquote, do for your health is usually the opposite. So I think that was something important for me to remember. I'm not the general, well, I am now, hopefully.
Yeah, we can see where a lot of these recommendations are coming from.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not confused about like, why we're telling people like walking is good for you and like eating vegetables is going to help you with your health. Like, it's just that the obesity epidemic is like not the issue we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Like the complete other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's hard for people because, people say, oh yeah, but like heart health issues are in my family. And it's like, hey, Shannon, if you're listening, I'm calling you out right now. She knows. She knows.
Shannon, we've all been there.
She knows.
She knows.
She's called us out many times.
Yeah, like you have an issue right now, but you're worried about an issue that you have like a family history of that you don't have right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, so I think we just need to sit down and like write out the list of priorities and where they're coming from and what's the issue right in front of us right now. That's one we got to address. Step count's not helping.
Also, just to add to that, if you've got a history of, heart diseases, not having a period is probably worse for your heart health. Yeah, like it's estrogen. Yeah, well, exactly right. Like there are other effects of not ovulating, and so I think that this is why we talk about journaling and the value of talking things out loud, because when we just like let our brain make decisions, sometimes they just don't make sense, and you actually don't realize that you're just not making sense because it just feels real and true in your head. And so you write it down and you talked about it with a friend. You can't see it for what it is. Oh, for sure. Your brain can always play tricks on you. Yeah,
it can seem so,
especially in recovery. Especially in recovery, your brain is trying to stop you from, getting out of your comfort zone. Oh my God, it's like it's trying to drag you back. It's grabbing you by the ankles, and it's like it's getting all of its friends, and it's all just trying to drag you back down. And it's so hard. Yeah, much compassion, empathy. We get it. Oh, 1,000%. Okay. Well, this has been a fabulous conversation about exercise. Amazing. I appreciate it, guys. I would love to do this again with you on a brand new topic. I find it really fun. Everyone, I hope you have a really great day. Go find Elyse at your period PT, Abby at Abby Grimm with 2 N's _
fake.
Oh no, there's actually no underscore. That's my old handle, isn't it? It's just. Oh wait, no,
Oh,
it
it's
is.
your
There is
current
one.
handle.
No, it's Abby Grimm _RD.
I'm researching it right now.
Why don't I
That's
know my own
exactly.
Instagram
That's
handle?
I mean, that's exactly what I just said.
You're right.
I said-
You're right. This is 100%
She's
on
still
me.
getting used to the last name.
I am. Everything is a jumbled
That's why
mess right now.
I just didn't change mine. It was
Well,
gonna be way
you have
too
a
much
cool
work.
last
you have a
name.
cool last name, so
Danny Davis.
I mean, not
is
to
like
say
a
that.
decent-
Wait, do I?
that is actually a very good name too.
Danny Davis. It's a good stage name.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Just-
Stick to recovery, because you get friends where you meet across the world and now they're in your home
They won't leave and they're eating all my food.
and
They're in my
it's kind of surreal. So
It is really cool. You know what? Ashley and we just decided last week we're gonna really push to try and do like a dinner.
I already love it.
Yeah.
I already love it.
with lots of notice so people can fly in, and we would love everyone and anyone is welcome to come. And it would be, you know what, if only 3 people show up, fine, but if like 10 came,
1, 2,
that would
3,
be
4.
Can we
That
do
would
it
be
before
wild.
February? End of
Uh,
February?
Oh God, that's
Oh, I
not
don't
enough
know.
time.
probably not.
You just have to fly back.
Can we just do like one? Like,
Just fly back in.
Yeah, you
Fly
just have
back
to
in.
fly back in.
Yeah, what it's like across the border. It's fine. Or you're gonna be back in Australia.
what board are you talking about?
Just going back to Australia.
Oh no, it's already time.
Yeah, March 3rd.
Okay,
I know.
Well,
it's
we're gonna have to
really
discuss-
honestly bullshit.
we're gonna have to discuss some things offline, I think. All right. Love you guys. I hope you all have a really good day.
Love
Thank you
you.
for tuning in. And
This
we'll
was
see you next
awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening today, guys. Please subscribe to the podcast, and if you could head to iTunes specifically and leave a rating or review, that would help so much, because it makes it easier for other people with HA who are Googling around to find the podcast really easily. So if you do that, you're doing a service to all of the women.
Okay, guys, we got to put our trays up for takeoff.
Where's Dad?
Oh, he's in the back. We could only get 3 seats together.
Daddy has my pillow.
We'll get it later. Can you not put your feet up, please?
Why aren't we going?
We must be in line for takeoff.
Like security?
Well, that was a different line.
I have to go.
We just sat down.
But I have to go.
The seatbelt sign's on.
Why aren't we moving?
Hey, no kicking.
We're just 15th in line for takeoff.
Son of a...
Don't go there. Go on a real vacation. Go RVing. Learn more at GoRVing.com.